Okay. This is Cal Katz, the Cal Katz star. I'm gonna do this like an Abrams movie here. Like, yeah, like. Oh, yeah, Cloverfield Paradox. Late Wednesday night. There's no Orville. Wednesday or Thursday, I decided to watch the Cloverfield Paradox. It's actually only about 10:13 or so now. It's not that late. But the yeah, the Cloverfield movie, now the color's suddenly getting good. So yeah, I've decided to watch this movie. They released a trailer for a Netflix film. Don't usually do Netflix films on here, but I decided to do this. That trailer was released on Super Bowl Sunday, and everybody's talking about Cloverfield Paradox. So, yeah, so I went and saw it here in the studio because it's on the computer. The Netflix. We don't have Netflix for Discovery because we don't get the Discovery up here. I'll have to wait for the DVD box set to go over that. This movie is, since it went directly to Netflix, it was a late 2016 movie apparently, early 2017, instead of theaters. Rotten Tomatoes is giving it about 20-something score. It's not very good. Although for a Netflix movie that's a Netflix series type of thing, in that sense, as a sort of a TV movie or a pilot, it probably would be all right as a pilot. It's reminiscent of the show Defying Gravity, which is a space show from Canada. It's similar to Life, which came out last year, 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago. It's similar to Alien and Alien 4. Fatal Attraction in there a little bit. Several cheesy station movies. It's got a little Solaris in it, a little 2001: A Space Odyssey in it. It's got a little of everything, and I don't know if that's good or bad. The 10 Cloverfield Lane movie was sort of a good suspense movie that was set in this is the sequel. It was set in a bunker, and John Goodman was insane, and he was trying to kill people and stuff. Trying to hold them hostage while there was an alien invasion going on. So there's an alien invasion going on. He's trying it for this multiverse type of Marvelverse kind of thing with the Cloverfield creature. Different dimensions and stuff. And the plot of the movie is that, in this one, is that there's a space station which is trying a particle accelerator device that accidentally shoots them into another dimension where the Earth is at war. Meanwhile, back on Earth, aliens are invading the Earth. Alien monsters, and the Cloverfield stuff is going on. Even though they're not even in the same dimension, really. There's this other dimension where other stuff is happening. There's the station starts doing crazy things. They discover a woman in the wall. The worms all disappear from the worm lab, and then they're later found in the stomach of the guy barfing up and dying. There's a guy that dies. Rip off Alien right there with him. They find a gyroscope in his stomach later, which is bizarre. At one point, a guy tries to repair the wall, and the arm sucks his arm is sucked into the wall, and it comes off. They find the arm later, and it's somehow animated, and it like alive, and it's like writing and stuff. Like, got a little bit of a Renaimator vibe there. Yeah. It's got like just about everything in this thing. Reminiscent of Super 8 a little bit, in the sense that it was kind of weird. Yeah, it was an odd movie. I would say that Abrams and Bad Robot and his people, and then creators of the new Star Trek and the Cloverfield movies and all that, I guess they're a little bit older than me, but not much. They're our generation, and they're thinking along the same lines as a lot of the Starship Locations stuff, a lot of Starcracker stuff, other things like that. If Starcrackers was a horror movie, it would probably look like this, but it's not. It's a comedy. But ours would be better written, less tropes, unless we do them on purpose. But yeah, and we did do Star Crackers. They can see it online on the channel, Weird Kitty 07. You can watch us back when we were in our 20s and didn't know what we were doing. We just filmed because we thought we should film guerrilla style. Yeah, and there is a horror script from that period called The Mall Massacre. That this totally would be if it was a space station. Anyway, the Stone Gremlins guy and his he's not that's Doug Walker. Brad Jones and his wife Laura over at Stone Gremlins were watching this movie, and they did a review of it. And she says she has an associate's degree in science. Well, I have a bachelor's degree in the science of journalism. So, yeah, and I also did some minor stuff in astronomy because I like space, but not officially. There's no official astronomy degree. I just like space, science fiction writer. But yeah, suffice it to say, this was clearly supposed to be something from 2012. It's about the Higgs boson particle and paradoxes and opening a gateway into another dimension using the God particle was the name of the story originally. It got rewritten. Not sure who wrote it, but Abrams took it and rewrote it, added Cloverfield to it, like he did with a little-known movie that was called The Shelter or The Cell, and it was a cellar, which he renamed as 10 Cloverfield Lane. Actually, the original Cloverfield was The Party, which they renamed as Cloverfield. So it had nothing to do with a monster or anything like that. It was just this weird found footage of these people at a party. And they run outside and something happens, like an attack. The original Cloverfield was a parable of 9/11. So there's a conspiracy theory woven in through the whole thing. The monsters, even though, or 9/11-like thing. I think it was a little after it. Yeah, 9/11-like thing. And so yeah, it was afterward. But yeah, this one has a bad guy, villain person who's really obvious, who's in it, who they find in the wall, who's clearly the bad guy from the get-go. No surprise there. Somebody sacrifices themselves to save the ship at one point. One of them makes a plastic gun with a 3D printer, because why not? Of course, the Large Hadron Collider is actually quite large, or miles long. It's a big, accelerator. I think it's a circle accelerator thing, and it's like a mile or something or more. They couldn't have built a space station in only 10 years that's that big to make an accelerator work. So scientifically, it's completely bullshit. No, they would not do that. It is that linear accelerator does not. That accelerators do not work like that. And of course the conspiracy people are like, oh, they're going to open a doorway to another dimension and all this stuff is going to happen, and they're thinking that, but no, particles that smash into each other in the atom smasher are not any wider than the lens of this camera. So if they can open a door to another dimension, it would be pretty small, little door, tiny little door. Maybe your finger could go through, like beep. So if they were going to do that, and they don't, yeah. And of course the thing looks like a big, Stargate, but it's not. It's not a Stargate. It's not a wormhole maker. But yeah, in this movie they go into a wormhole. So yeah, computer screens and buttons go on and display messages like malfunction and failure and things like that don't make sense that they would come up like that on the screen, but oh well. This old classic trope of oh yeah, this thing is actually going to flash red alert on the screen, and would make sense on a made up fantasy station. Sure, why not? But yeah, this movie was not connected originally to Cloverfield. It was called, The God Particle. And it's not one of mine, but it's somebody else's, but a similar idea. I would have done something like this when I was in my 20s. Somebody's doing it now, and of course, when this came out, it was 2012, so I would have been 40 something. uh, anyway, yeah, it plays like it was written by teenagers, early 20 somethings. The acting's not bad. It's solid enough. I guess the they flash back to parts that are on Earth that are clearly filmed later, and there's to add it into the movie. It was just a space station movie. There was no husband guy originally. None of that stuff was in there. They added that stuff. The original was completely, looks like, yeah, you can tell where they added stuff. They have a modern cell phone in there. I think it's supposed to be 8 years in the future than 10 years in the future. They would have something more advanced than an iPhone 6, I would think. Anyways, so, but yeah, it's still not a bad movie. It's not horrible. It's all right. I guess it's worth a night of complaining about it. Yeah, so it's there. It exists. It's on a par with not Arrival, but the original The Arrival from way back in the day, which was not that great. It's on a par with it's not really the American Solaris either. It's not really Moon, certainly either. There were a couple of good gags in it, like the arm that was writing something, and the wall swallowing the guy, or some of the gags in there. The part at the end where the monster is suddenly like taller than the sky is ridiculous. How the hell can it be that big? Come on. The Cloverfield monster. Blah. When it rips off the ending of Gravity. She's on her way down to the planet. Apparently it's all tied in, so that's something, I guess. I wouldn't have quite done it this way, but thinking along the same lines, it would have been similar. Yeah, it also was similar to that Weather Dominator movie from this year. The Geostorm. Same kind of acting in places as Geostorm. Like, same kind of idea. Like, they added other footage because it didn't work, so they, reshot some of it. Very much... Actually, it's a lot like Geostorm, actually. A lot more so than it's like Life. It's like Geostorm. The station is threatened. Yeah, the whole premise is kind of weird, because, what would they... just shoehorning it in as a Cloverfield movie is actually kind of a cheap way to do something. It's kind of like saying... It is like saying, okay, I have a bunch of scripts. I can't do anything with them, so I'm just going to rework my own plot devices around the script that already exists, and then it's just going to be part of that canon. Having done stories like that doesn't often work. I've done a few of my collection, anthology, short story collections and things, and combined them to pretty much rewrite a lot of stories to make them do that, as written anyway. And requires a lot of rewriting to make them... Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You can't just change characters around and situations around and make them fit. Just make them fit. It doesn't work that way. Will it fit? Oh, like that Stone Gremlin's character. Will it fit guy? But yeah, tears, it still fits, that guy. But yeah, so, yeah, it's... Yeah, it's sloppy writing to just say, I'm going to use this existing script and rewrite it so it's mine. Put my stamp on it. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work. Now, if it is one of Abrams' original scripts, then that's fine. But no, he's taking somebody else's. And it's really obvious. The part is. And although everybody seemed to like the first Cloverfield as a found footage movie, actually, if you watch that movie, the first half an hour is crap. It's bad. The first half an hour of Cloverfield is really, really bad. And even the most amateur film director would not shoot it like that. It's like, what was he doing? This is the guy that did Mission Impossible movies already before that, and Lost, and Angel. Well, Lost hadn't started yet, but yeah, some of the other ones. And it's like, why did he do that? Why did he just give the camera to the guy to film the floor and the wall and the sky and the people? It's like something that's like amateurish, beyond amateurish to do that. And then, yeah, it was just really annoying. Eesh. It's really bad, that first part of that. Oh, my goodness. But yeah, the later ones were better because they weren't original Cloverfield movies, including this one. This is not 10 Cloverfield Lane's sequel, though. It really isn't. The whole mythos is completely crazy, and I don't need to go into that. But as other people have already done it. Just to say that this one's about... I would say this movie's about as good as the first Cloverfield movie, only because at least the cinematography's better. It's not really... I wouldn't consider it a sequel because he took other footage from elsewhere. It's not really a sequel. It's really, I've put the Cloverfield name on something that isn't. Okay. They're kind of being hacks again. But at least it was shot better than the other one. Yeah, there was a conceit in my Starcrackers with Mark's Cards back in the day. And that Mark's Cards, when we were doing that movie, he was mainly the camera guy and sometimes the director. And because he was like a late teenager, he just figured, I want to be artsy, so I'll just film random stuff. And we kept telling him that doesn't look good. It's like, just film random stuff. We would do it. Like, he filmed the floor and zoomed up to the commander and filmed the wall and run over again because it was artsy. Well, that's kind of what they were doing in the Cloverfield movie like years later. And it's like, they didn't need to do that. Anyway, so there's my review of... this one did that a little better then. But yeah, we learned since then that that's not what you do. But yeah, the characters were fairly generic and cardboard in the beginning, and there was a lot of over dialogue that didn't need to be there, padded out with that extra footage. So this new one was trying to be too many things. So that's my review of the movie. It's all right. It's since it's on Netflix, it gets a better rating just because it was never in theaters. It's still two stars, maybe 2.5 if you're trying to be generous. It's not a great movie. It's just there. So yeah. And even Abrams must have known, so he's like, I'll put it on Netflix. So it's like, yeah. Cloverfield Paradox. And, probably have to do more on paradoxes and things like that later on, but, yeah. Anyway.